boards are navigating a new era marked by mounting uncertainty and rapid transformation. In this defining context, the Institute of Directors hosted its flagship 2025 Annual Directors Conclave on 8th of August in New Delhi, and also the celebration of Institute of Directors' 35-year legacy towards strengthening governance and driving sustainable business excellence. The conclave saw participation of over 400 distinguished delegates, including some of the most influential industry icons and regulatory leaders who are shaping the future of India's boardrooms. This year's theme, Shaping Tomorrow's Boards, The Competitive Edge, underscores IOD's commitment to strengthening board leadership and corporate resilience in a rapidly evolving global landscape. With thought-provoking discussions centered on 4 key pillars: corporate governance, sustainability, risk management, and ESG, the event set the stage for charting the path ahead for responsible and resilient leadership.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, like every other auspicious occasion, let us start this momentous occasion with the customary lamp lighting ceremony.
The proceedings commenced with the President of the Institute of Directors, Lieutenant General Surinder Nath, who set the tone for the day with his insightful remarks, ushering in a series of illuminating deliberations.
Shaping tomorrow's boards. This calls for certain amount of action. It challenges us to question the adequacy of traditional governance frameworks and to explore how we can architect boards that are agile, that are well informed, they are inclusive, and they are forward-thinking.
After the highly anticipated welcome, the chairman of the UAE and Gulf Institute of Directors, His Excellency Dr. Tayyib Kamali, delivered the special address, which was followed by transformative insights by the chairman of Institute of Directors, Honorable Justice Uday U. Lalit, former Chief Justice of India.
In this new world, augmented by AI, board's role is critical in anchoring a strategy, but also building a value to drive growth and to protect the enterprise.
100 crore of our population is below the age group of 35. So we are a very young country as compared to some of the superpowers where perhaps the average age is well above 50 and 60. So in next 20 or 25 years, this 100 crore population which is below 35 are going to emerge as the leaders of the society. They are going to shape the future of the country.
The arrival of the chief guest, Shri Tuhin Kanta Pandey, Honorable Chairman of SEBI, lent the gathering an air of distinction and gravitas. His presence and profound perspectives set the tone of depth and purpose for the deliberations that followed.
It's a pleasure to be here at 2025 Annual Directors Conclave hosted by the IOD. At this moment, I would congratulate the Institute on completing its 35 years of enduring commitment to promote good governance. The Institute of Directors has been playing an important role in promoting leadership excellence and strengthening the effectiveness of boardrooms across the corporate landscape. India has made remarkable progress in governance. In listed space, SEBI has progressively deepened the framework for corporate governance over the past 2 decades. With the revision in the Companies Act 2013 and the codification of listing obligations under the SEBI LODR regulations, we have laid down detailed requirements regarding the composition, independence, and responsibilities of board and their committees, including audit, nomination and remuneration, and risk management committees. But a foundation is not a fortress. Boards often devote significant time to reviewing detailed compliance packs, while important signals about organizational culture are barely discussed. Independent directors sit at the table, but are they being heard or simply counted? We have diversity on paper, but do we have diversity of thought? And most importantly, are we treating governance as a breathing value or just a checklist? Because too often, form overshadows intent. And this gap between structure and spirit is becoming harder to ignore. Let me end with this thought. The real test of governance is not during steady growth. It's when something goes wrong. When a whistleblower email lands, when a social media campaign questions your ethics, when performance dips and pressure rises, that's when your governance model speaks loudest. And what it says depends not on your policies, but on your people. So let's invest in shaping those people for the boardroom of tomorrow. Not because regulators expect to, but because the future deserves it.
The day then progressed with visionary remarks from a distinguished set of voices, each bringing unique perspectives on leadership and governance.
The boards now have reconstrained themselves with vision, resilience and integrity, balancing stakeholders' expectations while addressing ESG priorities, embracing digital innovation and responding to regulatory complexity.
Creating a culture of purpose in decision-making frameworks and having ethics and the social mission. These are some of the important parameters for attracting and retaining consumers, employees, and ultimately, having the competitive edge.
Boards can no longer afford to be passive or performative. They must be proactive, diverse in thought, and anchored in purpose.
We need to think in terms of how the corporate of the next decade, the corporate of the coming time, can align itself with the national goal.
In classical economics, you had 4 factors of production: land, labor, capital, and enterprise. Today, in the world that we live in the IPR world, in the world of smart contracts, it's ideas, assets, revenue, and royalty.
I believe that the next decade, it will be how we stay trusted. How we stay trusted for all our stakeholders.
The role of the board has never been more central to how organizations are managed, results getting delivered. It's about steering organizations through this massive disruption that's happening, making sure that how we lead is as strong as how we genuinely deliver in companies.
India is abundant in scientific knowledge, in engineering knowledge, in people who really care about humanity and who can make the impossible happen.
When you're talking about strengthening corporate governance and you're talking about the competitive edge, you can only get that competitive edge if you are exposed to inputs from people who are on the ground, on the field.
The true corporate governance is, all about cultures, a culture of integrity, transparency and accountability.
Arthashastra emphasizes on ethical conduct, how there should be strategic leadership, how a leader should behave, how there should be inclusion. Everything is there as the principles of governance in Arthashastra.
Well-governed company commands a premium in market valuation, their ability to raise funds, and thirdly and most importantly, today's Gen X want to be associated with an organization which is not just about profit.
Today, our consumer has evolved a great deal. Our consumer has become wise. He's questioning. And this questioning is happening all around.
Lead not just with policy, but with conscience, and not just with risk reward in mind, but with resilience and relevance at its core. That's how an engaged board can truly add value to the enterprise.
I'm talking as a consumer. I think when I am working in a company, I'm also buying many products from other company. So I have a right to have a good food, and good food is not only responsibility of the companies, but together we can make a good India, good Bharat.
Trust is the foundation of every successful business, but in FMCG it is absolutely vital. Trust defines whether consumers will choose your brand again, whether regulators will stand with you, and whether your company will remain relevant tomorrow.
Stay tuned as we return shortly with more powerful insights and the much anticipated Felicitation ceremony of the IOD Distinguished Fellow Awards. The conclave witnessed a series of engaging discussions that brought forth diverse perspectives and actionable ideas for the boardrooms of tomorrow.
My major takeaway today was to see that how the generation Z is now shaping up for the future. I was heartening to see some of the speakers speaking about the diversity basically coming into the play as future leaders, which is very important for any country's growth and economy.
This particular conference, is trying to sensitize the directors, sensitize the general public about the importance of corporate governance, is very, very timely.
The key takeaway for this particular conclave is don't restrict yourself to just compliance. Go beyond the compliance. It is imperative, it is ethical, it is moral.
The topic and the dialogues, discourse that is going on is all very relevant to current times. So it's been very, very enriched experience.
Now you have the ESG, which is, I would reckon, an internalized process for the business.
There is this conversation around digital directors. Should they be on the boards? Now this is some barriers that we need to cross. Can you get younger people on the boards? People who really engage with, who are native digital technology people.
We operate in a landscape where ESG is no longer an externality. It is embedded into the rules, the risk, and the capital itself.
Uttar Pradesh, as if I talk about last few years, have changed its image from being a agrarian state to a new investment destination.
IOD is doing very good job for bridging the gap between the industry and the customers and the relations between board members. So I felt very good.
It was a great event, and coming from the government, we got the opportunity to interact with a lot of investors, a lot of big companies.
The conclave was further enriched by the presence of Honorable Justice Rituraj Awasthi as the distinguished guest of honor, gracing the audience with his distinguished perspectives, enriching the dialogue on justice, governance and leadership.
The strength of a nation's future lies not only in economic growth, but in the integrity, transparency and intent with which leaders and institutions operate. Today, as India rises on the world stage, it is more important that even that our companies embody the highest standards of corporate governance and ethical business.
It was indeed a momentous occasion for IOD as we had the distinct honor of welcoming Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal, Honorable Union Minister of State for Law and Justice and Parliamentary Affairs, Government of India, as our distinguished guest of honor. His esteemed presence graced the felicitation of IOD Distinguished Fellowship and IOD Institutional Life members in the evening adding to its significance.
We have entered into Industry 4.0 और ये रुकने वाला नहीं है जी. इसके चैलेंजेस हो गए, हम कैसे इसको ठीक कर सकते हैं हमारे देश हित में, ये बड़ा विषय होना चाहिए. आप देखिए 1780 में जब स्टीम का आविष्कार हुआ तब बहुत से लोगों ने कहा नाव चलाने वालों का क्या होगा, लेकिन वो रुका थोड़ी. जब व्यापार बढ़ा, ट्रेड बढ़ा, आना जाना सुगम हुआ तो उन्होंने कहा ये तो क्रांति है, तो उन्होंने नाम दिया इंडस्ट्री 1.0. लेकिन जब इंडस्ट्री 2.0 नाम दिया तब कब दिया, जब इस संसार में बिजली का आविष्कार हुआ. उस समय भी लोगों ने कहा लालटेन बनाने वालों का क्या होगा, पेट्रोमैक्स बनाने वालों का क्या होगा, लेकिन रुका थोड़ी बिजली अब. और आज की तारीख में बिजली के बिना रह भी नहीं सकते, पावर के बिना, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के बिना. लेकिन उसको भी नाम दिया कि ये भी एक रिवॉल्यूशन है, इंडस्ट्री 2.0. लेकिन बाद में एक और क्रांति आई जब हमारे इस जीवन में कंप्यूटर आया, जिसको हम ICT कहते हैं. IT सेक्टर हमारे जीवन में प्रवेश कर गया और बहुत क्रांति हुई. लोगों ने इसको भी कहा इंडस्ट्री 3.0. और अब हम एंटर कर गए हैं इंडस्ट्री 4.0, जिसमें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस भी है, जिसमें मशीन लर्निंग भी है, जिसमें रोबोटिक्स भी है, जिसमें IoT भी है, जिसमें 3D प्रिंटिंग्स भी है. और ये हमारे जीवन का हिस्सा बन चुके हैं, हम इससे अब अलग नहीं हो सकते. इसको हम चैलेंज के रूप में स्वीकार करें और हम हमारे इंडस्ट्री, हमारे बिजनेस, हमारे ट्रेड में हम कैसे उपयोगी बना सकते हैं, हमारी इकोनॉमी की साइज कैसे बढ़ा सकते हैं, और जितने भी चैलेंज हमारे सामने आए उसको चैलेंज को हम अवसर में कैसे बदल सकते हैं, ये बड़ा विषय हमारे लिए होना चाहिए.
In a ceremony befitting the prestige of the awards, Honorable Union Minister Shri Arjun Ram Meghwal and Honorable Justice Rituraj Awasthi, Vice Chairman Institute of Directors, along with Lieutenant General Surinder Nath, President Institute of Directors, and His Excellency Dr. Tayyib Kamali, Chairman of the UAE and Gulf Institute of Directors, conferred the coveted accolades upon the distinguished recipients, marking a truly illustrious celebration of excellence.
The Institute of Directors is delighted to felicitate Mr. M. Nagaraju for his outstanding contribution to India's financial sector.
I'm grateful to IOD and the director and Mr. Kapoor. And finally, our chief guest of today's evening function, Arjun Meghwal sir, doctor actually. He's a doctor, he's also poet. And besides that, of course, he's the union minister. I'm grateful to him, to all of you, for being the witness to today's evening function. Thank you so much.
The Institute of Directors is delighted to felicitate Mr. Chanchal Kumar in recognition of his dedicated public service and visionary leadership in advancing regional development and infrastructure.
I am honored and humbled by this recognition that has given to me by IOD. This fellowship is a recognition of my team and their dedication to public service, particularly the Ministry of Development of Northeastern Region. I once again thank IOD for this recognition. Jai Hind.
The Institute of Directors is delighted to felicitate Mr. Nadir Godrej in recognition of his distinguished business leadership and far-reaching contributions to Indian industry.
All all of us can forge ahead if we only learn to shed the barriers that can divide, and if cooperation stride. With the help of business, I foresee a helpful, thriving society. I would like to thank IOD for conferring this fellowship on me. Thank you.
The Institute of Directors is delighted to facilitate Mr. Angelo George in recognition of his visionary leadership and strategic acumen in Indian beverage industry.
I am grateful to IOD for this honor, not just as a recognition for what has been achieved, but as a reaffirmation of the commitment to lead with purpose, responsibility, and renewed energy. This fellowship will be a powerful reminder of that responsibility. Thank you so much.
The ceremony also witnessed the conferring of the IOD institutional life members. After a highly stimulating day, the guiding force behind the Institute of Directors, Mr. Manoj K. Roth, Secretary General and CEO, Institute of Directors, delivered the vote of thanks to formally bring this evening's proceedings to a close.
On behalf of IOD, I extend my deepest appreciation and heartfelt thanks to each one of you for your gracious presence, participation, and invaluable contribution that made today's conclave not just a success, but a defining moment in India's corporate governance journey.
The 2025 edition of the Annual Directors Conclave has further reinforced the conclave's position as a premier platform for fostering meaningful dialogue and inspiring transformative action towards responsible and sustainable business practices. Brought to you by Institute of Directors.